Oh yeah, I got it. Okay, recording started. Matthew, I went through a couple of videos or one video related to our previous knowledge transfer sessions, and also I will have a couple of questions. Also, we'll use this document here to put our insights and findings. Also, if you feel free to put anything there if you forgot or something. And also, I plan to share my screen. Just give me a second. Share screen. This one. Probably you can see it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Just related to this change in SAS usage ping GitLab_.com, renaming the tables, I add a couple of more things there. Previously about Ready Snowflake, we are done. We had finished that and we went together through a paired programming session, let's say something like that. And when it comes to this issue, I will have a couple of questions. Probably you remember you put some details here, which is kind of okay. And yeah, it's a reminder for two of us just to discuss. You said rename these tables to instance SQL metrics in row of SAS usage ping. Actually, schema will be the same, just table name will be different, right?
Yeah.
And this is clear and everything is changed. When it comes to renaming, I should rename it directly in Snowflake, and next job, once when it's live on production, we'll put the data there into the rename table, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Also, I changed the DBT model documentation accordingly to align with new change. This is also done. And you mentioned this, add the ID in the table, run ID, column added. I use MD5 to convert timestamp into the new column. So questions are, do we need any backfill here for new columns or not? I don't know, is it possible or not? Anyway, if we introduce the new column, probably some values should be null, right?
We have the timestamp I think for before, so we can extrapolate on this, so we can backfill.
Okay. I mean, we can use timestamp already exists and just put it there and update the column, right?
Yeah.
That's okay. Do I need to propagate a new column via DBT model into the final area or next area? You know what I mean? I have a new column, and is this something internally for us so we can track timestamp, or I need to push these changes via DBT model?
There's one DBT model that depends on this, so I guess we can add the ID on it. You can look at the lineage in the DBT doc.
Okay.
It's in a workspace right now, so that means that nothing got molded. I just exposed it for exploration. That means that the data is not properly queued.
So you mean to check what is inside and then to decide, determine do I need to add or propagate this ID or run ID or not, right?
Let's add the ID. Anyway, it's better to have it. So the purpose of it is just also having a data quality check. So it's always better to keep it.
Yeah, I agree with you. Just want to do double check.
Yeah.
And you mentioned here add one column counter SQL count, but I think someone put a comment there. I think it's Michael Walker. He's not in company anymore. And you said, yes, true, that can be removed. And probably this comment is related to that column, right? So we don't need this counter SQL count, or do you have any other idea?
No, it's fine. It's not a big deal.
What do you mean to discard this change, right? We don't need this column. Okay. Do we need to propagate new column via DBT model in the final area? This question is the same. So yeah, we will discard the change. Nothing to push forward. And yes, okay, I should say this. You mentioned create a new table related to SQL errors. And I remember we mentioned this last time, and this is the title related to this change. And you said we have included run results GitLab.com table. I think the errors could be split into different models that we contain all the errors in JSON. And what we agreed, I think we should have two tables, one existing one, rename one, and also one more related to this instance SQL error. And what is the criteria to determine what will go there? I have and looked into the code.
Yes, if you go to the script, basically it runs 300 or 400 SQL queries. So at the moment, if you go to Snowflake and check this this table, you'll see that it's pretty easy to see that either you have you can run this one actually.
This is okay.
Yeah, you can run this query. Okay, click on, it's very long to, click on run results on one of the JSON.
Oh, sorry, not double click here. Okay.
And if you go down, you see, for example, here, for example, you see SQL errors. So the way it works at the moment is that we run the SQL, whatever the SQL returns, it's stored here. So it's very hard because we have valid results, so SQL queries that return results and numbers with errors.
Okay.
And there's another type actually that we could, if you look for empty, maybe not on this one, but yeah, maybe look for the latest one, for the 29th, and Control F empty. I think it's with a capital E. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's perfect. You see empty data frame.
Yeah.
That's also a stupid setup that we put together, that we put in production very fast. That basically should return 0 instead of returning empty data frame. It means that there's no.
Okay. I think I got the point, because my initial idea, of course, I'm not aware of all details, so you can help me here. We have try block, then except with SQL Alchemy error or key error. See, empty data frame. So somehow I can handle, if it's an exception, to move the data in another table rather than here. If everything is fine, it will end up here. In case of these two types of error, I can put copy paste, and of course, instead of instance SQL metrics, should put SQL instance error, right? So this can be criteria for me.
I think the key error should return 0. That means that there's no error in the SQL. It's just that basically the
simply no data. We have no data.
Return 0, yeah.
So you mean on key error, we will treat this the same, like successful execution, just simply we have 0 records. But some other kind of error will end up in that new table.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So for key error, instead of the line 1688, 89, what we will do is that the data that we write will be 0.
Okay.
So the reason for this was just to troubleshoot when there are errors. When you look at so you write data, no data return, and should go to the success one with the counter name and the value. The key will be the counter name and the value will be 0.
Okay. And in case of any other error, I mean, usually it's SQL Alchemy error. It means query is not okay or something is wrong, should end up in that error table, right?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So if you look at the SQL Alchemy at the moment, there are 2 types of errors. There's one which should be fixed right now, but we can talk about it after your questions.
Okay.
And there's another one which would be maybe a recurring one, which is when we don't have the data yet available in DBT.
Okay.
So that means that we will need to just catch this and add the data if possible.
So I mean, to do fine granulation, to divide this into 2 kinds of errors, right?
No, it's fine. For now, it's just it's totally fine to not do it this way, but in the future, I think it will be better.
Okay. Okay. Good point.
So you can look. So and there's one error that is really weird, and that is at the moment causing some problems. You can look at the data. Go to Snowflake.
Okay.
And type, and just go to the run results one, the latest one, for example.
Yeah, this is
and
okay.
Type join.
I have find join.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So you see here, and that's for and select the counter name count the cluster platform EKS.
This one.
Yeah. Copy.
Copy
And then go to the query map and check the query.
Sorry, just to pick up the latest one.
Yeah.
Find paste.
So you see here.
Select counts.
After the inner join, there should be a space. It's not here.
Yeah. Here is the catch, right?
Yeah. So that's weird because so basically the script works, but not for it works for the from, not for the joins, which is weird. I don't know why. So we just need to add a space, basically.
It's only a catch when you have join inside your query. For anything from where close, it will be fine, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
So that's a script error that needs to be changed. It's causing maybe a couple of errors, like 20, 25.
Just to type here.
So I started looking at the data yesterday. So normally, what we should have in data warehouse should be exactly the same as what we have in production. That means that when we count the same things, we should get the same results. It's not the case. And it's mainly not the case because we don't catch deletes. So if a row is deleted from the source, we don't catch it in the data warehouse for most of the time. It's a massive problem actually. So when you run the same data, when you run the same query in dbt in the warehouse and in the Postgres replica, we don't get the same results.
Because of this deletion, right? That part is missing, or?
Yeah, the average deviation is around 3 to 4%, which is for the monthly counters, but it could go much higher. It could go up to like 18, 20, 60, 50%, which is very, very annoying. So that means that...
Do you know the root cause of that? I mean, do we have any plan to fix this, or what is the catch? Just this deletion, or?
So that's something I foresaw a bit, but not that much. And that's something that really needs to be discussed, because that clearly means also that we have a slight problem with this project, and that's something I want to mention, like with Rob, is that with the current setup, our data warehouse doesn't reflect what we have exactly in the in Postgres database. So either we need to find a way to flag the deleted rows, and that's very hard.
I know.
Or we need to. But for me, I think the best would be to do an audit of all these queries and understand which ones are needed and which ones are not, because there are a lot of them. I'm sure they are barely used. So, and they are very long, very queries that have been implemented 3 to 4 years ago, and that no one cares about. So maybe the question is that, should we run all these queries, or should we select a subset of queries that are very, very important for the company, depending on the types of reporting we want to do with it?
Okay.
So there are a lot of all-time counters, for example, that don't make sense at all. We don't care of having a query run that returns every week the number of CI builds that have been triggered on SaaS since the beginning of GitLab.com. So that's definitely a problem, and that's something that we should talk with Proxy Intelligence to get move forward, to create a path forward to just either mitigate the error, so just try to reduce it. It's fine, but it's a long process. The other option should be to say, like, what queries do we need, and let's see if we see a big deviation on it. So, and for this, it will be understanding where these numbers are needed, in which in which reporting, so on and so forth. So there's one main, which is just for all the prog PIs. For the rest, I don't think most of it is even looked at, but that should be definitely investigated. So that's really something that bothers me a bit, because I don't find a good way to do it, but to just solve this problem right now, and I don't have the time.
Okay, I understand that part. Yeah, my first point here related to this knowledge transfer session was to use you to answer all these questions, and this part is clear for now. And also here some reminders for me. It's mainly to discuss among any team members, but yeah, I want to check which I need to create for testing. I solved this with VED, test airflow DBT. Do we need some additional test case for new columns and propagate new columns you needed? I will check with you. Yes, we should propagate this and also need to be included in DBT jobs. So that's one topic from my side. And also I want to use some of your time. Do you think, is there any important things you didn't mention probably to me and also to Chris, to any team members we should rely on or we should need to know, or I don't know, some important things which is good to share related to SAS usage ping?
No.
That's nice then. I have one question. Usage ping, service ping, what is the difference?
Just it was usage ping before, it's service ping right now.
But it's the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Same ping. Okay, got the point. Chris, do you have any other question related to this?
Yeah, I had a question just on a join that I couldn't figure out what was going on, and is a join inner join to dim date. So looking at CI runner activity, and there's an inner join to dim date on the. Let me copy and paste it.
Do you want to share the screen, Chris? Maybe it will be faster. I can have everything prepared.
I can paste it into the screen, or I can also share my screen.
It's for a total different. Is it for this or?
Yeah. It's a question about the inner joint dim date on the date of the build started at. This should be. I was playing about with this, so I think it's that. And build finished at greater than dim date.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure why that, because that has quite bad performance.
Totally. So I agree with you that. So that's a feature. So did you meet with Ian before?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, cool. So basically, it was a guy from
That's Ian
Schweikart. Yeah. So the DD means decisive data. So that means they were an agency that worked with us for a couple of months, almost a year, I guess, to help us kickstart the EDM, the enterprise dimensional model migration. So Kana worked first for the Zora and GTM data models, and then he worked with Sushma a lot on some of the TAM, so on the game side models, and then he worked on this finally. So basically, one thing he knows is that a build can start on a day, and finish on another day.
Yeah.
And what he wanted to do is just to create like a perfect reporting to say like, what's happening is that when, so assuming a job starts at 10 p.m. and ends up at 2 a.m., 2 hours will be reported 2 a.m. on the next day. 2 hours will be reported from 10 p.m. to midnight to the day when it started, and then 2 hours on the next day.
Yeah.
So that's why I created this. So to have a perfect reporting. Okay. That being said, when you talk to Davis, and I think he's going to reply, he's going to tell you the purpose of this whole Mart is just creating fast reporting, but not exact or super accurate reporting for CI runner costs. So how much a runner will cost to GitLab, or how much GitLab pays for the runners that they host.
Yeah.
And we don't care about these multi-month CI builds. Or these multi-day CI builds. So I was
just assign the cost to the previous day, and
and we don't care.
Average out, won't it? I think that's what I did on this one, the daily version, because it was just so much quicker.
Exactly.
I just said that.
Exactly. So it's a feature that he implemented that took forever to run, which is it's nice to just have accurate reporting, but at some point it's creating a data spine like this will create like massive problems.
Yeah, so it's a Cartesian join, which is it took ages. So.
Exactly. And when you look at the numbers of jobs that are running through over 2 consecutive days, or that don't have a start date, which is the same as a finish day, it's, I believe, 0.5%.
Yeah.
So my guess and my belief is that we shouldn't care much about this. And we should all remove this CT and just do plain and this month span and do plain reporting based on the start date.
Yeah. I just because I was reading it and I couldn't figure out what the aim was, like why it was like this. So that explains it. I just wasn't sure if I was messing with something that would cause problems. But.
So just FYI, this mod is not used at all at the moment. So,
we just put in the daily one for Davis.
Yeah, exactly. But what I mean is more like it has been created 3 weeks ago or a month ago, the first one, and I think Davis didn't even touch it. So you can do whatever you want. You won't mess in your reporting.
Right.
So you can be as chill as you want. Like you won't break anything. And I think no one will realize, especially knowing that Davis agrees on the fact that we shouldn't complexify it so much, and we shouldn't care about these multi-month CI builds, and just care about having a basic reporting that will help them like query this having a basic mart that will help them create their reporting much easier than what they do now.
Yeah, makes sense. Cool, thank you.
No,
thank you, Matthew. I think that's it from my side. Really, I was primarily focused on this issue. I'm almost done with that and just want to do fine tuning with you, and everything seems to be clear for me. Thanks for that. And also, Chris, if no any questions, we can close the call. If it's up to me, I'm done, right?
Yeah, that's all I had right now. But yeah, many more questions, I suppose. But
how do you feel, both of you?
Sorry.
How do you feel, both of you, after 2-3 weeks here working?
Yeah, it's